Shadowcoast here, and we are talking tips for GreedFall. I have 5 of them I wanted to give off the bat. I'm about 10 hours of gameplay in. Tip number 1 is use the workbench early and often. At the beginning of the game, you will pick up goldsmith gloves. If you don't, you can also purchase them from merchants. They give you +1 craftsmanship. So using the workbench, there will be items. So you can see here items with little pips. You can add bonuses. The first tip here is using the workbench is upgrade the gear you're going to use. So for example, the scout's tunic, we have 3 slots. We can add different things. Now, depending on the craftsman level, we can add different bonuses. So resistance to poison, and other such things. What's interesting is for straps, we can actually add lock picking, science, and vigor. I do recommend that you actually think about adding vigor pretty early in. It increases the amount you can carry, so you start with 200, I believe, which will be important. So consider making sure that you constantly upgrade your gear is tip number 1. Tip number 2 is carry different item sets or torso sets. So when you're looking at these different torso sets, you're going to see here a little symbol down here. Make sure that you carry one of each because depending on where you go, equipping the torso will get you past guards if you're wearing the right emblem for those guards. I haven't figured out a list of easy to figure out ways of determining what symbol is what group, so you just have to kind of eyeball it based off the look and feel of the uniform and you can figure it out. If all else fails, you can just try equipping different gear and walking past guarded areas to see if you get past. So we're actually going to travel to a city here. So let's travel over to New Serene. And we're going to actually go to our residence. So tip number 3 is while you're loading, you actually can use the camp, right? So don't worry about wasting time waiting. Make sure you use the camp and be sure to speak to the traveling merchant early and often so you can purchase gear. Now, at the beginning of the game, gear is pretty expensive. You don't make a lot of gold. You do need to progress towards the later parts of the game before you really start making money. So you can see here I'm fairly early game. But I do recommend that you purchase weapons to upgrade your gear so you output more damage. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is make sure that you constantly check your chest. Now, you will receive within your chest, and you can actually look at this at your camp too, gear from faction rewards as you increase your faction reputation with different groups. So make sure that you're constantly checking in to grab the gear that you can, and also managing your reputation with different factions. And tip number 5, and I didn't actually realize this, is that uh, regular loot, so not locked boxes or loot boxes, but loot that you can find around in different areas will actually regenerate over periods of time. So here I actually think I did a run through and looted everything, but make sure you check back into cities and other areas so you can loot different general boxes. So like stuff like this where you can pick up materials and stuff. They will regenerate after a period of time, just like certain enemies do after a period of time. So make sure you're traveling back to different cities, especially as you pass time and time passes, to constantly loot the different areas to get more materials to craft. So hopefully those are easy tips that you enjoy. If you like what you see, please drop me a thumbs up and please subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next episode.